Hi, I'm Mark Boyd from the RSPB. I'm Youth Manager. We have about 17,000 volunteers for the RSPB overall, quite a number of whom work with young people. And with that wide range of roles, then obviously we've had to engage with the disclosure and barring service as best we can. We're not actually finding it too difficult, because this is just one element of how we recruit volunteers to work with us and to work with young people. It goes along with decent references and good role descriptions and all those sorts of things as well. So we're not finding it too onerous. It does put a little bit more emphasis on the volunteer themselves to make sure that they've signed up to the update service and things like that. But overall, we're finding it's reasonable as one part of that more integrated safeguarding programme. But having said it's part of that integrated programme, it does need to be completely backed up by good policies and procedures from the organisation anyway. And that's, in our case, that might be things like making sure that all the sites we have got lost child procedures, we know about ratios for children and working with adults depending on the situation that they're in, and those sorts of fairly obvious safeguarding things. But those are policies and procedures that have to be written down, and as and when to engage with DBS is part of that. One thing that we found is really very useful for us is that it has clarified when we need to think about supervision for particular roles and what level of supervision that might be, and whether that supervision is sufficient to warrant different levels of check. We're finding that again to be okay, but one of the issues that we might be coming up with is that some of the settings that we work with, such as sending volunteers into schools, some schools are thinking about it in very different ways from others. We also work across all the countries in the UK, so the interface between DBS and the equivalents in Scotland and Northern Ireland, for example, are not always as straightforward for cross-border volunteering. But overall, this feels like it's one useful element, not only to help us decide a bit more about what roles we need checks for. The portability obviously helps us with volunteers who might be using who might want to use in different organisations, or might come to us from various different organisations. We think that things like the onus to report is also useful, and just it overall seems to be working quite well for us at the moment, and we will get more and more used to it as time goes on. Thank you very much.